Hello, you're welcome. This is the fine art class section. As you all know, I still remain Mr. Shotomide Olawe. Today's topic on fine art is art, materials, and tools. I am sure we are not new to this topic. We have used one material or the other to create any form of art, like your drawing, like your painting, like your molding. Today, let's look at the objectives why we are learning art materials and tools. These are the things we must know after this lesson is over. 1. We should be able to define art materials. 2. Define art tools. And 3. List at least 5 art materials and 5 art tools. You should be able to do this at the end of this class. So you should be attentive to this lesson. Now let's look at what are art materials and art tools. We start with the first one, art materials. Art materials are those supplies needed to make or transform them into art. That is to say, those things that you will assemble, you will gather for you to create an art work. For example, 1. Paint. Paint is paint until it is applied to canvas, paper, or board. When a paint is not applied to a surface, it is not yet called an artwork. It is still a material. It is still a what? Material. But when it is applied to a surface like a canvas, a paper, or a board, or even a wall, then it has turned from material to artwork. 2. Canvas, paper, and board. These three things, they are still a material. They are still a material until they are used to create any form of artwork. When the paper is still the same as it is produced from the factory, it is still a material. But when it is transformed to a bag, to a shoe, to a paint, to a drawing, it is no more a material. It is now part of an artwork. Clay. Clay is a clay until it is turned to a sculpture. Until you mold it to a sculpture, it is still a clay. Whereas art tools include artist's hand and equipment that are needed to turn the materials into art. That is your hands, your 10-finger hands, your palm. They are part of your equipment alongside the things your hands will be using to create or turn materials into an artwork. So such tools like your brushes, paint brushes for painting the house or creating your pictures, your knives, clay, easel, palette, and so on and so forth. They are all needed to create or form the materials into art. Into what? Art. Now let's go to the next thing. Let's look at some art materials. Some art materials. We have the first one here we are looking at is paint. If you can see the picture, you see there are different colors there. You have the white, the red, the blue, the orange, the green, the black. Now, what is paint? This is a colored substance which is spread over a surface and dries to have a thin decorative or protective coating. It is an art material that is applied on a surface to create beauty and attraction. Now, paint is also used for creating pictures on a flat surface, like painting yourself, painting your dad, having a portrait of your dad, your mom, your family, and the likes. It can be used to paint an animal, humans, and so on and so forth. So then the next one is fabric. Fabrics are those materials that other things or objects are created from. It is from fabric that we create things like our dresses, curtains, blankets, and so on and so forth. In art, fabrics are clothing materials used for any art creation. They are specifically textile materials. Textile what? Materials. Now we go to the next one. Other art materials such as clay. Clay is a material used for molding. Wood is a material used for carving or building. And crayon, this is used for coloring sketches to make a beautiful picture. So many materials that we cannot list them all right now. Now let's go to some art tools. These are some art tools. Number one, we have a mallet. We have a mallet. A mallet is a kind of hammer. A mallet is a kind of hammer, often made of rubber or sometimes wood, that is smaller than a maul or beetle and usually has a relatively large head. It is something like an hammer, but it's not an hammer. It is not used like an hammer. It is used to, create shapes on other objects by hitting the head of a chisel. So this mallet is used to straighten objects, straighten things that are needed in creating any artwork. The next one here is called palette knife. A palette knife is a blunt tool used for mixing or applying paint with a flexible steel blade. It is primarily used for mixing paint colors, paste, and so on and so forth. Sometimes you can use palette for painting instead of using the conventional paint brushes. It's called impasto painting style. When you are creating an impasto painting style, you use palette for painting. Other art tools are scissors, donkey bench, chisel, drawing board, and many more. Just as like I said earlier on, there are also many art tools that we cannot list them all. Summary. To summarize this, we know that art materials and tools are like ingredients and spice for cooking a good soup. Without art materials and tools, there can't not be any good creation of art, any kind of artworks. They are also important as to allow for effective and easy making of art. Quickly, let's do a recap of some of the things we have discussed. Let's start by listing some of the art materials and art tools. Now the first art tools here is paint for painting. Second here is fabric for creating clothes or other things. The third is clay, wood, and crayon. We have 5 art materials listed here. Now what are the tools? The tools are mallet, palette knife, scissors, donkey bench, chisel, drawing board, and many more. So we have 5 chisels, 5 tools, and 5 materials. So now let's look at the assignment for today's class. List 5 more art materials you can remember. Enumerate 5 art tools as well. Now you produce a drawing and the coloring of this donkey bench. Note, your assignment should be done in your subject teacher's assignment book, not your class teacher's assignment book. Note, subject teacher's assignment book. Is that taken? Now, if you have any question for this class, you can type them in your WhatsApp class group, and I will attend to them before we finally round up the class for today. I'm looking forward to answering your questions and seeing you in the next class meeting. All right. So we have come to the end of today's lesson. Make sure you remember to stay at home and stay safe. Goodbye.